Good evening and welcome to the November 11th meeting for the Fort Wayne Community Schools Board of Trustees. This meeting will be open to the public during Indiana's ongoing public health emergency as declared by Governor Holcomb. Masks must be worn at all times on FWCS grounds. Social distancing will be practiced at the meeting. Therefore, some members of the public who wish to attend may be excluded. If you plan to attend, media, please email our Public Information Officer, Krista Stockman. All others, email our Clerk of the Board, Angela Filler. The public is encouraged to view the meeting at Cable Comcast 54 and Frontier 24, the live stream on our Facebook page, or the LTV 2454 FWCS YouTube channel. Priority for attendance in person will be given to the members of the media. Let's stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call of members.
Good evening, Steve Corona from the 5th District.
Hello, Jennifer Mathias from the 2nd District.
Maria Norman, member at large.
Noah Smith, 3rd District.
And to my left is Angela Filler, our Clerk of the Board, and our Superintendent, Dr. Daniel. And we have Raleigh Booker on our telephone with us this evening. Good evening, Raleigh.
Good evening.
And I am Ann Duff, member at large. Let's see. So we will begin with our consent agenda. That includes the approval of minutes, the vouchers and payroll, and our personnel report. Is there a motion on the floor for approval of our consent agenda?
Move we approve.
Second.
Thank you. Dr. Daniel, was there anything on the personnel report you wanted to mention?
Not this evening, thank you.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Are we going to have to take a roll call vote with Raleigh?
Oh, I'm sorry. So thank you. And I just said that when we started. Sorry. Roll call vote. Steve?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Raleigh?
Aye.
Noah?
Aye.
An aye for me. Thank you. Okay, our first recommendation then, Southside High School trip to Canada. Steve?
It is recommended the board approve a trip to Montreal, Quebec City, Canada from April 2nd to the 8th next year. And this is for Southside's foreign language students. They'll have the chance to use the language they are studying, I assume it's French, and experience the culture of the country. There will be educational opportunities daily. The trip will provide a robust experience for students to apply knowledge learned in the world language classroom to real-life situations. The students will meet people from different cultures and experience different ways of living and viewing our world. And once the students return, they will share and present their experiences to other students and hopefully to members of the board as well. Adam Swinford, the principal from South, is here along with Taylor Buzzard, a teacher, to answer any questions about the trip.
Thank you, Steve. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
Move for approval.
Second.
Thank you. And do we have any questions?
How many kids do you expect to take?
Right now we have 15 kids enrolled.
Out of curiosity, what's the cost per kid?
About 2,000, over 2,000
And that's for a week?
for a week, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Are they
Normally-
doing any fundraising or anything like that to raise?
Yeah, so we, normally we start the process about 2 years before the trip to start fundraising and kind of give kids a heads up on the different ideas that they could do to raise the funds, like just instead of asking for Christmas gifts, they ask for money for the trip. We always have them apply for the Hefner grant that is available for kids in the area to do international travel, and that is really helpful when kids get that. And then we organize group fundraisers together. So all
Awesome.
kinds of different ways to help them get it paid for.
I forgot about the Hefner grant. I was a recipient of that myself. So, and it
Yeah.
paid for my plane ticket to France. So
Yeah,
that's
super helpful.
wonderful. We have that opportunity for our kids.
Yeah.
Do they have to meet certain requirements to be able to attend this?
For this trip, it was just they had to be current French students, and then that was it. Yeah.
So will they live, or you will stay in hotels, or do they have host families?
Yep. No, we'll stay in a hotel. They'll be with myself, and then we have a tour guide that stays with us the whole trip. They stay with us at the hotel, and they're with us when we land, and all the way up till the moment till we depart.
Any other chaperone, give me a call.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, I know a little French, so. All right, any other questions?
Have a great trip.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, Steve?
Yes.
Vote.
Like, what do
Sorry.
you want? Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Maria?
Aye.
Raleigh?
Aye.
Noah?
Yes.
And I from me. Okay, next, Jennifer with the Summer of Learning Grant.
It is recommended that the board approve the acceptance of the Indiana Department of Education Summer of Learning Grant in the amount of $16,000. Fort Wayne Community Schools Technology will be hosting a conference during the summer of 2022, offering our teachers the opportunity to connect with innovative technology-enhanced pedagogy related to learning recovery, STEM, literacy, digital learning, and more. Keynote speakers will be John Coripo from Edu Protocol and Jake Miller from Educational Duct Tape. This is the third year that our technology department will host a conference. With this grant, we will be able to expand the conference by inviting area school districts. Questions will be addressed by Shannon Quigley, District Technology Coordinator.
Thank you. Is there a motion for approval?
We approve.
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any questions?
So is money from the state that we use to pay these people to come and house them? And
Yes, it can be used to pay for speaker fees, also for advertising materials or any building costs that would be associated with the conference.
in the prior years, how many people have you had attend roughly?
We held it 1 year in person before COVID, and we had about 500 teachers attend, and then we had done it virtually over the past 2 summers where we had good attendance, not as many as the in-person event, so we're excited to be able to host another in-person opportunity this summer.
What kind of areas do these speakers talk from or about? Educational duct tape, what's that?
Both of the speakers, John Crippo and Jake Miller, talk about how to infuse technology with your pedagogy of your classroom. So not just how to use different technology tools in your classroom, but really how can we use them effectively to teach math or effectively to teach language arts. So we did a professional learning series last year with the author of Edu Protocol. So it's nice for him to come in and then work with teachers directly and show them how they can use repeated pedagogy opportunities with teachers that they can easily use in their classroom, high engagement, and easy data for reteaching.
And when you did it in person, where'd you host it at?
Northside High School.
Okay, and of the 500 or so, how many were from FWCS and how many from others?
The majority of those were from Fort Wayne Community Schools. With the Summer of Learning Grant from the IUE, it would mark us as a location across the state where other teachers can come. So this would be the first time we really open it up to other people from outside of the district.
Great.
Anything else? All right, thank you. Okay, Steve.
Aye.
Jennifer.
Aye.
Maria.
Aye.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Noah.
Aye.
Aye from me. Okay, next we have Maria with the Build, Learn, Grow Stabilization Grant.
It is recommended that the board approve the acceptance of the Build, Learn, Grow Stabilization Grants from the Indiana Family of Social Services Administration's Office of Early Childhood and Out-of-School Learning Department. That's a mouthful. In an amount up to $500,000 per licensed preschool program for the 2021 through the 2023 school years. The Build, Learn, Grow, or BLG stabilization funds were established by the Federal ARP Act, established in March 2021 in an effort to support early childhood program to recover, maintain, and/or grow in response to the coronavirus global pandemic. These non-competitive funds will support the licensed preschool programs at the following locations: Abbott, Adams, Bloomingdale, Brentwood, Fairfield, Forest Park, Franke Park, Harrison Hill, Holland, Indian Village, Lindley, Maplewood, North Crest, Scott, South Wayne, Studi, Washington, Waynedale, and Whitney Young. Funds may be used for supplemental purposes including personnel costs, facility fees, maintenance and improvements, COVID-19 safety-related needs, goods and services necessary to resume and strengthen operations, mental health supports for children and employees, and/or health and safety training. Monies are distributed statewide in 3-month increments until the $540 million state allocation is exhausted. FWCS plans to use the first round of payments for preschool playground renovations at each site. Additional usages are preschool restroom updates, mental health supports for preschoolers, and Kimberly Brooks, Title I Director, in coordination with Kathy Friend, CFO, and Darren Hess, Facilities, and Katie Ziegler, Pre-K Coordinator, are available to answer any of our questions.
Thank you. Is there a motion for approval?
Motion we approve.
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any questions?
I do. So it's saying that we will receive $500,000 per preschool? Is that up to $500,000 per preschool?
It can be, if the statewide allocation is still available. That's the max that each preschool program could receive.
Approximately how many preschoolers do we have right now?
In the Title I program, for this grant, we're just shy of about 600.
And how many teachers?
20 altogether.
I'm sorry, what was that?
20 teachers, 20 assistants.
20 teachers and 20 assistants?
Correct.
Is our preschool program growing? Or are we maxed out?
No, we're not maxed out. There is still some space.
And can a student enter that at any time throughout the year, a preschool student?
For the most part, yes. The Title I preschool classrooms are based on attendance area. So if you live within that area, you move, any time of year. And, we're not full. Our programs are maxed at 20 students per program if it's AM or PM, or if it's full day, it is 20 students as well. And that's because of our national accreditation through NACE.
Are we having a problem getting preschool teachers at this time?
Where we're fully staffed at this time.
With preschool and assistants?
Yes.
Okay, that's great.
So our Title I programs are half-day,
Some are, most are, but we have a few that are full
and you
day.
can go AM or PM. Is that correct?
On the half days?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you've listed a few of the things that we can use them for. We're looking for playgrounds, but we're also, in there, I see mental health supports for children and employees.
Correct.
Do we have any, are we looking specifically, are you looking for any mental health for our employees? Is that a need right now?
Well, what we have looked for so far were the mental health supports just for the preschoolers, which is something that we've not ventured into before. We actually have identified a program through Macmillan Health that is available.
When you say mental health support, are you talking about getting case managers in, or are there certain programs that you're thinking of including? And is it because those are Title I schools?
Not any positions necessarily, but services.
Hi, Katie Ziegler, Pre-K Coordinator. I've been in contact with Macmillan Health Services that's actually developing a program right now for early childhood education that is a lot of social emotional learning, but also mental health and how to deal with those big feelings that some of our 4-year-olds can have in very appropriate ways. So I did get to attend a program where they showed us one of their lessons, and I connected with the director on how appropriate they would be for our young learners. And so they would come to the classrooms and actually do these lessons with the children and have hands-on learning with them to explore some of those emotions and mental health services they would need.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah, so there's 19 schools listed, or how many of those are Title I?
All of them except for Whitney Young.
Okay. And then you mentioned this is a grant we're requesting, right? Is there a time, what's the time cycle for this?
So the funds are going to be allocated any day now, and then we have until September 30th of 2023 to spend the funds. So we do have a couple years to spend them.
So we're talking about $9.5 million roughly if everything goes well and we get the number? The 19 schools at $500,000 per?
If they get that max correct, but that at this point is unknown because you have early childhood programs that are applying from all over the state. So it depends on how many, these are non-competitive, so more or less if you apply, you receive the monies based on your enrollment and your staffing. So it really just depends how many schools or how many programs apply throughout these 2 years.
So if we're the only ones that apply, we should be good, but if there's hundreds that apply, we're gonna need to cut down, is that?
Right,
today.
but we do know today, they just actually sent out the list of the first round, and there were 2,000 programs who applied. So,
And I assume public schools like Fort Wayne Community and non-public or even private groups, or is it open to anybody?
it's more so child care centers and early preschool programs that will have most of the benefit of these dollars. There's not too many public schools that have licensed preschool programs like we do. So there won't be as many public schools as a part of the grant as there are, such and such daycare, down
So
the
we're
street.
competing against Noah's Little Daycare, as long as I'm licensed,
Correct,
I could go get some money and
correct.
have a good old time. The $540,000 for the first round of preschool playground renovations at each site. I guess this would be a daring question. Does that include Forest Park? I noticed I saw in the news they received their funding or a donation funding for their new playground. Will that be?
It will not be part of that because we're looking at age-appropriate equipment, 2 to 5 years old, and what they're doing at Forest Park with their fundraising is the 5 to 12-year-old playground.
Okay.
Anything else? All right, thank you very much.
Oh, I'm sorry, one question.
Okay,
Have we gotten this before?
No, this is a part of the ARP Act, which was part of the, overall
The
coronavirus
federal funding,
relief.
okay, March 2021, I just saw it again. So,
Thank you. Okay, Steve, how do you vote? Steve? Roll call vote, Steve?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was- Aye,
Jennifer?
excuse me.
Aye.
Maria? Raleigh?
Aye.
Noah?
All right, and good luck.
An aye from me, that's right. Okay. Our Title I Part A Basic and Neglected Grant. It is recommended that the board approve the acceptance of the Title I Part A Basic and Neglected Grant for 2021-2022 from the Indiana Department of Education in the amount of $13,376,682.48. Title I is a federally funded program designed to enable schools with high concentrations of low-income students to provide opportunities for children to acquire the knowledge and skills in state content areas and to meet and/or exceed the state performance standards for all children. A school building's eligibility for Title I services is based on criteria related to family income. Fort Wayne Community Schools determines target areas based on numbers of students receiving free or reduced lunch and/or direct certified government benefits. At FWCS, Title I services are delivered in the following 32 schools: Abbott, Adams, Bloomingdale, Brentwood, Glenwood Park, Haley, Harrison Hill, Holland, Indian Village, Irwin, Lincoln, Lindley, Maplewood, Northcrest, Price, Scott, Shambaugh, South Wayne, Studi, Washington, Washington Center, and Waynedale. Those are elementaries. Kikionga, Lakeside, Miami, and Portage are the middle schools, and Northside, Southside, and Wayne are our high schools. Title I funding also provides for pre-K programs in the following 17 locations: Abbott, Adams, Bloomingdale, Brentwood, Fairfield, Forest Park, Franklin Park, Harrison Hill, Indian Village, Lindley, Maplewood, Northcrest, South Wayne, Scott, Studi, Washington, and Waynedale, serving just under 600 students and their families from all the FWCS Title I elementary schools. Students who receive free or reduced lunch and live in FWCS Title I school attendance areas but attend non-public schools are provided supplemental instruction through a resource teacher or tutor, an instructional assistant, or a service provider. Title I eligible students from 36 non-public schools receive services funded from the 2021-22 Title I grant. Additionally, FWCS students who are experiencing homelessness and one institution for neglected children, the Crossroad Children's Home, receive supplemental education services. The grant is managed by Kimberly Brooks, Title I Director, who will answer your questions. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
So motion.
Second.
Thank you. And do we have any questions?
So we're going to use these funds to give kind of supplemental instruction with a resource teacher, tutor, instructional assistant?
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question?
We're going to use this funding to help support these kids with further resources, resource teachers, tutors, or instructional assistants?
Correct.
And so we're administrating this grant for other non-public schools too, is that?
Yes, because it's federal grant.
Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Roll call vote. Steve?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Maria? Aye. Raleigh?
Aye.
Noah?
Aye.
Aye from me. Okay, and Noah, Title I Part D delinquent grant.
It is recommended the board approve the acceptance of the Title I Part D delinquent grant for 2021, 2022 in the amount of $96,729.45 from the Indiana Department of Education. Allen County Juvenile Center and Lifeline Youth and Family Delinquent Institutions receive funds through the Title I Part D delinquent grant to support instruction and transitional services for client students who reside in the above-mentioned facilities. Instruction is designed to sustain academic growth during residency and close the achievement gap. Both coursework and/or tutorial services are available. The grant is managed by Kimberly Brooks, and she's back on the hot seat for more questions.
All right. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And do we have any questions about this?
Just one, Kimberly. You don't have to go up. How many kids roughly do we have right now?
It varies because of ACJC, it depends on who is there.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
It wasn't just a short answer, Noah.
It depends, I would say, right now, probably about 50, but as I said, that it varies depending on who's, incarcerated at the time.
Thank you.
And they get our full educational services when at ACJC?
Correct.
Any other questions?
How many teachers do we have at ACJC?
I'm not sure about the daytime. The Title I services are in addition to what they get during the day. So right now, Title I funds about 1.5 people who work with them after their daytime programming. But I'm not exactly sure what the daytime amounts are.
And so how long do these people, when they're done, the Title I, how long typically does somebody work with somebody after their daytime hours?
How many hours after? Anywhere between 1 to 2 hours.
Anything else? Thank you. Okay, roll call vote. Steve?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Raleigh?
Aye.
Noah?
Aye.
An aye from me. And Noah, the Title I Part, oops, sorry. Steve, ESSER 2 grant. There we go.
It's recommended the board approve the acceptance of the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund from the Indiana Department of Education in the amount of $44,883,919.41 for the 21-20, it's 2 school years, 21 through 23 school years, is that correct? Okay, 2-year grant. Background information, ESSER 2 funds were established by federal government in December of last year as a continued response to the coronavirus global pandemic. School districts are afforded the additional funds to respond to the effects of the shutdown and unexpected changes in our learning environment. Funds may be used for facilities upgrades for indoor air quality, technology for remote learning, internet connectivity, staffing, health services and supplies, professional learning. Unlike the ESSER 1 grant, a portion of the funding is not required to be equitably shared with non-public schools who enroll students residing in our Title I attendance areas. We are going to use about $7.6 million to provide stipends to personnel, our district personnel who are employed during the height of the pandemic in the 2021 school year. And the grant is managed by the ever-popular Kimberly Brooks, and she is here as our Title I director, and Kathy Friend will also be available to answer questions.
Move we approve.
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? Seeing there are none, roll call vote. Steve?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Raleigh?
Aye.
Noah?
Aye.
Aye from me. Okay. Next is Jennifer with the ESSER 3.
It is recommended that the board approve the acceptance of the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund, ESSER 3 grant, from the Indiana Department of Education in the amount of $100,802,907.15 for the 21 through 24 school years. That's an extra year. That's correct? Okay, thank you. ESSER 3 funds were established by the Federal ARP Act in March of 2021 as a continued response to the coronavirus global pandemic. School districts are afforded the additional funds to respond to the effects of the shutdown and unexpected changes in learning environments for the foreseeable future. Funds may be used for facility upgrades, technology, health services and supplies, professional learning, etc. Unlike ESSER 1, a portion of the funding is not required to be equitably shared with non-public schools who enroll students residing in Title I attendance areas. School districts are required to allocate 20% to specifically address learning loss. Examples which are district-wide summer school programming for the next 3 years and additional instruction personnel added to most buildings. The grant is managed, again, by Kimberly Brooks, Title I Director, in coordination with Kathy Friend.
Thank you. Motion on the floor for approval?
Move we approve.
Second.
Thank you. And do we have any questions?
I will, and I'll let Kimberly sit and go for Kathy this time. So that's about $145 million in the last 2 ESSER grant dollars. This is kind of what we had expected coming down the pike when these were approved by the federal government, or is this,
Yeah, yep. These are the amounts we expected.
and we've already kind of allocated most of these dollars?
Yeah,
Is that
we
right?
have. And as you've seen, there's been a lot of facilities projects that have come forward. It's been nice that we've been able to renovate some of our buildings according to the requirements that these grants provide for. So I would say almost half of the funds will be used to improve facilities.
And to be clear, when this passed, we didn't get a big check of 145
No,
million.
no,
We have to
no.
go spend the money and ask for it back.
That's right, we get reimbursed, yep.
Kathy, have we seen, with this federal money, can we see where the pots of this money are going to go over the next 2 and 3 years?
Sure.
I think it would be helpful for the public to see it as well. And, the words that really reach out to me are learning loss. And I know that our most challenging kids in the district were really hit hard.
Yeah.
And
So,
especially those kids who didn't even show up,
yeah.
the kindergartners, and they've got to be struggling.
Yeah, and some of our plans may be fluid as time, as you know, because this goes on until 2024. So if funds don't get spent, for instance, we didn't get a summer school program quite as big as we had wanted,
Right.
maybe, then those funds will go towards some other area in a future year. So I just use that as an example, but so it won't be 100% accurate. It'll be the plan that
Yeah.
we have in place right now. Yeah.
I think this is a terrific opportunity to really do some things that we always wanted to do, but over the next 2 or 3 years, we really do have the cash to make sure that more of our third graders are reading and are able to be successful in class as they move forward. So, yeah, I'd like to see if we can share that with the public about the dollars.
And we have to use this by 2024, right?
Some of it, yes, on the third one, it has to be used by 2024. That's correct. The third one, ESSER 3 has to be used by 2024, ESSER 2 by, I'm saying that wrong, ESSER 3 by 24, ESSER 2 by 23.
So we plan to offer summer school through the summer of 2024.
Yes.
Is it
Yes.
12/31/24 or 6/30/24?
You have to have it encumbered by September 30th, and then check written by December 15th.
So with that, when we look at the overall, where we're at with kids and we have issues in our school which we never, ever dreamed or imagined. Kids are coming back with all kinds of, things that we would have never, ever thought that would happen and just continue to happen. Although we may not be able to put somebody on a salary for longevity, if we see programs and such of things that may help our kids or bring them resources, would contractual people be, would that fit into these ESSER dollars? So let's say we have mental health program that we have come to us and we think that would be wonderful for our high school kids or whatever grade it is. And we could see that using those for 2 years or 1 year or whatever. Would that fall under?
Yeah, we could
this?
use contractual services for that. We also have hired some people who are temporary, and they realize that those are temporary positions and that they would end at the time that the grant ends.
Okay, so we still, since we've only spent about half, we still could have our eyes open to other options and they're giving more resources to our students.
Yeah, well, when you say half, are you referring to the facilities?
That's
Is that
just
what you-
facility.
Oh, that was just facilities?
That was just facilities, committed towards facilities.
Sure,
And then,
okay.
yeah, we have most of the dollars committed or planned out, but, it won't go exactly as planned, but we definitely have a plan for all the way through 24.
Okay, great, thank you.
When's ESSER $1 going to have to be spent by?
What's that?
ESSER $1 have to be spent by?
Were they 22? 22, yeah, same requirement.
So it
So,
rolls off each of the
Yeah.
next 3 years?
yeah. So,
Anything else? Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks, Kathy.
Okay, roll call vote. Steve?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Raleigh?
Aye.
Noah?
Aye.
Aye from me. And we move on to Employee Assistance Program and Student Assistance Program. Maria?
It is recommended that the board approve the Bowen Center as the provider for the Employee Assistance Program, or EAP, and Student Assistance Program, SAP, for the period of January 1, 2022 through December 31, 2023. A request for proposal was distributed in May 2021. 2 vendors responded. Bowen Center has been the EAP provider for FWCS since July of 2006 and has continued to grow the services provided to both employees and students. In addition to the local office in Fort Wayne, there are 8 other locations available for employees living outside of the city. The price from Bowen Center for the EAP is $55,000 per year for the first 2 years. The price for the SAP is $48,000 for the first year and $60,000 for the second year. This contract may be extended by mutual agreement for an additional 3 years, provided that there are no additional price increase adjustments beyond those currently proposed or changes to the terms of the contract. Charles Kamek, Chief Operations Officer, and Austin Couch, Director of Human Services, are available to answer any questions.
Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
So motion.
Second.
Thank you. And do we have any questions?
How many people participate in this, or does this serve?
Utilization for the student program is roughly 120 students, and the EAP is about 119 students, both approximately 120.
For the students, I assume the counselor comes to the school, the Bowen Center counselor?
I believe so in some cases, and then also those are on site at the locations for Bowen.
And do they have, is there a limit to the sessions that they can have with a counselor?
For students, I believe, is it 6?
So we start with 3. I will tell you then that they work with Bowen to find other funds so that they continue, there's their continuity of care. However, oftentimes if they cannot find funding, we will then allocate other sessions that haven't been used so that student continues to get the help they need.
Awesome.
And sometimes the therapist does come to school, but we really try to keep it outside of school. So they're doing it virtual, or they'll come to the house, or they'll go to the actual office.
Oh, okay.
What is the increase from the first year to the second year for the SAP? I see it's $48,000 for the first year and $60,000 for the second year.
The first year is 48.
She's asking why.
Right, why? Yeah, I'm sorry. I see it's,
More students, more students will be served.
Then you pay a per member fee, so we're hoping that will expand the number of participants in the programs. I think your earlier question, all full-time and part-time employees and their dependents are eligible for the adult program. For the students, we've expanded it to include all. That's what the additional charge will be.
So any student could take advantage of this?
Yes.
And any student of an employee could take advantage of this?
Yeah, any employee or their dependent is eligible.
So that's like 35,000 eligible people roughly?
Yes.
And we have
You can
about
tell by the
240?
participation, it's not used as much as we would prefer.
how do
Oh, really?
how do people know about this?
We have advertisements, and Ashley and her crew send out notices and reminders. Managers have bulletins that they can participate, that people can participate. There's posters in all the buildings.
And those are targeted towards the employees and the students?
Yes.
And as a parent of an elementary age child, how would I go about signing him up or signing them up if parents are watching and are interested?
I'd have to defer to Liz.
So we allow our parents to go directly through Bowen if they do not want the school to be involved. So we have a direct line for that, or they can just call the school and they can make the referral for them.
Okay, so they could call the school and the counselor there could schedule an appointment, or the parent can call Bowen directly?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
But they have to go to Bowen for services.
So elementary is a little bit different. They actually Bowen provides skills coaches, so they're not therapists. But we have 13 skill coaches in several of our elementary schools, also at Nebraska in our alternative program, and at Wayne High School. So they will come, and though they're not therapists, they do work on life skills or soft skills with our kids, anger management. They do small groups and pullouts.
We have 6 at Abbott that really help with some of the trauma that a lot of those kids are facing and help kind of keep that calm atmosphere inside classrooms.
So how, at the one specifically that you mentioned at Abbott, how often are those 6 in the school?
Every day.
All 6 of them are in the school every day?
Mhm. And they worked with their assigned caseload.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Okay, roll call vote. Steve?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Raleigh?
Aye.
Noah?
Aye.
An aye from me. And, let's see, change orders. Oh, that's me. Okay, recommendation is recommended that the board approve the following change orders. We have several change orders on here. Projects at Adams, Fairfield, flooring project, general building systems, mechanical PPI, north side softball field improvements, guaranteed energy savings project, roof replacements, improvements at Haley, and many have a negative % change, but the overall change is 0.73 for a change of, I'm looking at $166,000, $166,999.85. I believe I read that correctly. Reasonable allowances and contingencies are included in base bids for most projects because of conditions or fees not specifically known at the time bids are taken. The use of these allowances and contingencies are authorized by the administration only after review by the Facilities Department's administrators and relevant architectural and engineering firms' personnel. To avoid major delays in construction projects, change order decisions are generally required and made prior to an official board meeting. In the event a major change in project scope is needed, a recommendation is made to the board for approval prior to proceeding with the project. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
So moved.
Second.
And do you have any questions for Darren?
I do, Madam Chair. Darren, very impressive. With this being less than 1% variance, could you talk just about the one item with the HVAC changes where there was a $230,000 change order on a $15 million project? What did they encounter?
Sure. So this is a design, guaranteed energy savings, so we send out an RFP stating a scope of work, and they respond to it in engineering and construction. So it's a little different than the other contracts where we hire an architect and engineer to design the whole thing, bid it out. So a lot of obviously the design is known by the contractors. So they responded to the RFP, they fulfilled all the requirements of the RFP, and as our staff have sat through them through multiple design meetings, there are some tweaks and changes that we made to the design before we started construction, and that was to improve the learning environment. For example, we added additional relief louvers to the outside and changed the location of the units so that we would still have windows in the room instead of taking up one of the bays of windows. Several other things that were just minor in detail, but over 11 buildings, they just added up to that. But it was walking through the design with them and improving it above the requirement to fulfill the RFP.
And this is where we've saved, not this specific approach, but with energy over the past 10 years, we've saved millions of dollars in this area, haven't we, as we've updated material and control units?
Yeah, that is correct. And we've also verified that the learning environment is increasing when we do these ventilation projects.
Yeah.
Data supports it.
Thank you.
Anything else for Darren?
The only other positive adjustment was for 2021 site and traffic PPI. Is that just general site and traffic improvements throughout the district, or is that something?
Correct. And we had a wet summer, as you know, and tennis courts at Wayne and Snyder and portions of the track at Miami weren't stable enough to support the new asphalt, so we had to remove some that was too deteriorated to a point where it went over the allowance.
Okay. Thank you, Darren. Okay, roll call vote.
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Raleigh?
Aye.
Noah?
Aye.
An aye from me. And we move on to Noah with the ESSER HVAC improvements at the Anthus Automotive Center.
It's recommended the board approve the following construction contract for HVAC improvements at Antis Automotive Center. A base bid from A. Harrelsley and Son for $579,825, and a base controls-based bid from Automated Logic for $204,118. Project consists of building air handler replacements and other ventilation improvements at the Antis Automotive Center. Primary engineering designed project. The project will be funded from the ESSER grant. The existing building automation systems and controls are proprietary, and Automated Logic is a single source vendor for this work. If anyone in the public wants to try and take them on, we see their name a lot. So anyway, there was 4 bids in total, and A. Harrelsley and Son was the low bid. Any questions are there by Darren?
Thank you. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
So motion.
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? Seeing there are none, roll call vote. Steve?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Raleigh?
Aye.
Noah?
Aye.
And aye from me. Okay, move on to the Southside High School Stadium waterproofing and restoration, and that is Steve.
Yes, it's recommended the board approve the following construction contract for the 2022 stadium waterproofing and restoration project at Southside High School. The recommended bid is to Buckeye Construction and Restoration Ltd. Base bid is $410,483. Background information, the project consists of joint sealant repairs, replacements, protection, waterproofing, selective precast concrete repairs, new handrails, selective concrete flatwork replacement, and waterproofing of the existing stadium. The project was designed by Martin Riley Architects and Engineers. Funding for the project will be from the 2016 project. The work will commence at the end of the 2021-22 school year and should be substantially completed by July 29th of next year. Darren is here to answer any questions, and there board members have additional information about the 4 bids, and they were fairly widespread from the low bid of $410 to $645 on the high bid there.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion for approval?
Move approved.
Second.
Thank you. And do we have any questions for Darren?
Is Buckeye Construction Restoration out of Fort Wayne or somewhere else?
No, this is a specialty type work, and Fort Wayne area doesn't even have masonry restoration waterproofing contractors, so they're out of Ohio. They just completed a project for us this past summer at Wayne High School and did an excellent job.
All right, anything else? All right, thank you, Darren. Roll call vote. Steve?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Raleigh?
Aye.
Noah?
Aye.
Aye from me. And the contract amendment for construction manager as constructor for the accessibility and security improvements, and that is Jennifer.
It is recommended that the board approve the second contract amendment with Hagerman, Inc. as part of the construction manager as constructor, CMC, contract for the accessibility and security improvements at Washington Elementary School in conjunction with the renovation of Wayne High School, previously approved March 22nd, 2021. This represents the second amendment of 4. The work item is accessibility and security improvements at Washington Elementary School. The second amendment amount is $1,465,462. The amended contract amount is $3,213,300. The related information is the accessibility and security improvements improvement project at Washington Elementary includes the relocation of the office suite to facilitate an entrance with enhanced security and the addition of limited use, limited application elevators to provide accessibility to all levels of the building and meet American with Disabilities Act standards. This project was included in the overall CMC contract with Hagerman, Inc. for the renovation of Wayne High School and accessibility and security improvements at Forest Park and Washington Elementary School. The contract procurement method for this project is constructor manager as constructor, CMC, for publicly funded projects as allowable per IC 5-32. This project was included in the overall CMC contract with Hagerman, Inc. for the renovation of Wayne High School and accessibility and security improvements at Forest Park and Washington Elementary Schools. Additional recommendations for the remaining construction work items will be presented at a later date, along with the establishment of a final overall guaranteed maximum price for the project. The project at Washington Elementary will be funded from the 2020 school building basic renewal, restoration, and safety projects. Darren is here to answer questions.
Thank you. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Darren, when will the project, this secure vestibule, begin at Washington?
Roughly spring break
Okay.
this year.
When so will it be completed spring break?
It'll start this spring break and be completed hopefully by the time the kids come back in the fall.
Okay. And, and so do they currently have an elevator?
They do not.
Do not. And so where will that be?
It'll still be in the center staircase because it has to hit 4 different levels. It'll be tucked in behind the new office. So we're not having to have 2 elevators on either end of the building. So we're able to do it with the 4-stop.
And then the new office will be the library, is that correct?
That is correct. The
And then-
media center will flip, and then the media center will go upstairs, and the old office will become a support resource area.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
And so we're going to expect changes on this original contract on Forest Park?
Yeah, additional amendments. With this current procurement, the state law requires you to amend the contract every time additional scope is added, so that it's a little different than a general construction contract where you wait till the very end and do one prime contract. This allows us to bid out smaller contracts over time to have that final GMP.
And then, so I thought I saw where it says 4 total, but this is the second, and Forest Park will be third, what would be the fourth?
The Wayne High School renovation.
Okay.
Wayne High School renovation, we expect bids in end of February. So last February meeting or the first March meeting will be approval of that amendment. And then Forest Park, we're going to wait till next year. We're going to test the market out a little bit because right now it's not very kind to us.
Prices are up?
Prices are definitely up.
How much percentage-wise would you say?
We're seeing anywhere from 15 to 30%. And
Wow.
you know, like Steve had mentioned on the previous board rec with 200,000 difference between contractors, that's the norm right now.
Are we still rising, or are we seeing it come, are we seeing any level?
We haven't seen any leveling out yet, no.
Anything else? Thank you, Darren. Okay, roll call vote, Steve?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Raleigh?
Aye.
Noah?
Aye.
Aye from me. Okay, and recertification of FWCS electrical districts, Maria.
It is recommended that the board recertify the FWCS electoral districts. State law requires school corporations to redraw or recertify electoral districts not later than December 31 of the year next following the year in which a decennial census is taken to preserve the equality of the governing body. I'm sorry, that was a mouthful. It further requires electoral districts to be as nearly as predictable of equal population, with the population of the largest exceeding the population of the smallest by not more than 15%. Data from the 2020 census established that the board's 5 electoral district populations deviate by only 5.2%, well within the permissible parameters. FWCS will file a recertification resolution with the clerk of the Allen County Circuit Court and the State Board of Education as required by law.
Okay, and our resolution on that is the following document that you all can see. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote, Steve?
Just
Oh,
a comment. I had a chance to talk to David about this. And it's interesting that one of the fastest growing areas is on the southeast side of our district. And it's really what we already know, where we're seeing that expansion of families along the Pettit area. So it's affecting those schools where, we're using portable school classrooms there. But my district was one of the slower growing districts on the southwest side, but it really probably in both areas aligns with what we already know. So interesting. I was involved in working these numbers in 2000 and 2010, so it was interesting to see what David came up with. And there's a fairly strong balance, so this is good stuff, good information.
Thanks, Steve. And how do you vote?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Raleigh?
Aye.
Noah?
Aye.
And aye from me. Okay, I believe that ends our business portion of our meeting.
Presentation.
Right, and so now we move on to warehouse services presentation. Rodney Rathke, don't know if I pronounced that correctly.
Got it right.
Oh, good. Director of Purchasing, and Michael McGowan, Warehouse Supervisor, will be doing a presentation on the Warehouse Services Department. All right, thank you.
We're going to start with video.
The warehouse is located at 1511 Catalpa Street. My role at the warehouse is the supervisor, and I oversee the delivery of all school mail, the receiving of all pro cards and purchase orders, make sure they're accurate and correct and get them out to the schools as needed. I oversee all the asset tagging, PPE orders that are processed. We also do the stores orders and make sure that they're going out on a bi-weekly schedule. It's a 30,000 square foot facility. We do more distributing than we do warehousing. And inside the warehouse, there's textbook rental, media services, there's media processing, there's printing services, and there's a clothing bank. And we all work hand in hand. A year and a half ago, we didn't have any PPE supplies here. Then we had to reorder all kinds of PPE supplies and distribute to all the schools, which is another job in itself. So it keeps us really busy here.
There's nothing typical about this job or the year ever.
It's we're kind of like the fire department, where when the bell rings, we're ready to go. We have our regular schedule of mail delivery, stock delivery, stores orders, receiving, and asset tagging. The warehouse is support for all buildings, all schools. We're not educators, and we know that, but we do provide the supplies that are needed for the educators, the teachers, the students, the custodians. Everything is needed in a building. We make sure we get it there in a timely fashion.
What I do in general is I send all books and any materials that students are needing to assist them. We barcode and we receive textbooks for the middle and high schools. We receive books for the elementary and send those out as well. My busiest time of the year is May to October. And what we do during this time is I have summer staff that help. We receive and distribute all books and supplies to all the schools, and there's 50 schools in the district.
The thing that we strive for is that a teacher doesn't have to think about what's there, it's just there. Same with a student, same with custodians. You know, without a clean building, it's hard to learn. Without textbooks, without technology, without all the supplies that we send to the buildings, it's hard to learn. So we're part of that learning process.
The remaining part of the year, I distribute new materials for students, new students, or students that are transferring from another district. I think one of the things I'm most proud of is that I'm part of the learning process for all the students in the Fort Wayne Community School family. A couple weeks ago, Lindley Elementary was in need of a science kit. And since we're so close to Lindley, I figured I would just physically drop it off myself to them. And they were very appreciative because the students were able to continue with their science. I'm very fortunate to be in this position, but I wouldn't be here if I didn't have my supervisor, Tricia, and Rod, you know, backing me and giving me the support that I need.
My department and my staff, and we work very closely with warehouse services. We place the orders, and the majority of those orders then ship to warehouse services to be received and distributed to the schools.
In the warehouse, we provide customer service to all of our customers out there, and our customers are the teachers, the students, all the staff members, and buildings other than the Fort Wayne Community Schools. We support the community. We do what we can there to help out. And with COVID, it's been an astronomical year and a half, but we're doing our best there. You know, when I think of customer service, I think of all of our customers. The ones that I think of the most, they start about this tall and they end up about this tall. And that's who we strive to achieve education with and help do our part there.
Members of the board, Dr. Daniel, and others in attendance, and those watching online. Tonight we're going to give you a presentation of warehouse services operation, who they are and what they do. And before we get into the slides, I just want to introduce myself. For those that don't know me, I'm Rod Rathke, Director of Purchasing. I started with FWCS in 1997 as a purchasing agent in the purchasing department. I became director in 2001. And just so you know how our departments gel together, purchasing services and the warehouse. Purchasing services is part of the business division under Kathy Friend. And then within the purchasing services family of departments, other than purchasing, we have printing services, textbook rental, and warehouse services. So that's Mike and I, his departments, we work really close together. So a little introduction of Mike. Mike started his career at FWCS as a bus driver in 2002. He was a bus driver from 2002 through 2005. He also, during that time, subbed at the warehouse when there was a need. In 2005, Mike started a full-time position as a clerk driver, and then in 2015, he became the supervisor through now. So with that said, we'll start the slideshow.
Thank you, Rod. Evening, board members. Evening, Dr. Daniel, cabinet members. My name is Mike McGowan. I'm a supervisor of the warehouse. I want to go through 5 different agendas in hopes that you will get a clearer picture of our operations at the warehouse. And warehouse tours are welcome and appreciated. Please stop out. I'm going to go through warehouse staff, warehouse equipment, daily services, textbook inventory management, and community services. My favorite topic is my staff. You know, we're a department of 10. We're small, but we're large in what we do. So I said, I'm the supervisor. I have a secretary, Kay Barlow, a lead man, Buzz Junk, clerk drivers, Jeff Christ, he's 5-hour, Rick Igney, Dave Robertson, Rayburn Rayburn Robinson, Kevin Remke, and Garrett Staller, and a property control and inventory clerk, Quentin Smith. Everyone in our department has their own job assignments, but when circumstances warrant, we're able to move around to different areas of operations. So we're all cross-trained in all areas of warehouse operations. We're very team-oriented. Quentin Smith is our property control clerk. He asset tags thousands of items per year and also tags items for non-pubs and uploads all items into the appropriate inventory system. Works very closely with technology. In March 2020, we became essential due to COVID. That whole rhythm that we had changed overnight. Most proud of my staff for enduring those early days of COVID. Extremely proud of them. Warehouse equipment. We have 3 box cargo vans, 2 mail trucks, 2 25-foot box trucks, one primarily for truck moves and one for stock deliveries. 2 vans, one for a 5-hour person and one for myself, property control and textbook rental. We have 1 genie lift in the warehouse, and we have 5 that we use for loaners. 2 forklifts, 3 electric pallet jacks, and if you came into the warehouse, you might see all 5 of those operating at the same time. You might think it's a circus. It's chaos, but it's organized chaos. We know what we're doing there. We have a stair climber. It looks like a refrigerator dolly, only with power. It's a back saver. When we go into a building and we're moving something from a 2nd and 3rd floor, we're not carrying it down. We're using this stair climber to walk it down. We have an auction trailer, and we use AAA Auction Company. We have surplus items that are good enough, are not good enough for our needs, but auctioned off, and the proceeds will go back into the general fund. We have a fluorescent bulb recycler, and we used to bring our fluorescent bulbs back to the warehouse, and we used to stack them on pallets, and we had pallets of bulbs everywhere, and they were cumbersome, took up a lot of space, and they would break. And somebody would come pick them up a couple times a year to recycle them, and it was very costly. So we purchased a bulb recycler, which we recycle our own bulbs in the warehouse now, and one barrel will hold 1,200 bulbs, and I think last year we went through 12,000 bulbs that were recycled. Quite a few. Daily services. Fill store orders stocked at warehouse, 2,806 year to date. Each order may have multiple items. Stores orders include cafeteria, health, copy paper, custodial, art, and other miscellaneous. Office supplies not included through AMO order on demand. Stores orders received in Business Plus through the secretaries and treasurers of the buildings. They enter the stores orders, and we fill those orders. We have about 600 different items in the warehouse to be purchased through the schools. Receive purchase orders, 3,451 year to date. Each PO may have multiple items and may come in multiple shipments. Includes non-FWCS orders, Title I, Title IV, Perkins, Gear, and Esser. I think most people are unaware that we receive non-FWCS into the warehouse. So we work for the non-pubs also. We receive there. Asset tagging of appropriate items, technology and AV laptops, iPads, TVs, projectors, musical instruments, grant-funded items, Title I, Title IV, Perkins, Esser, and Gear. Other items, $1,000 and above, vehicles, various equipment items. And there's 3 different inventory systems that are used when Quentin Smith enters these into our system. We use 1-to-1 for technology. We use Destiny for our musical instruments, and School Dude for vehicles, welders, construction trade, power equipment, and those things. If it's in your building, it probably came through the warehouse. Truck moves, we have 982 year to date. We have 3 types, pickup, loan, and technology. Receive truck moves in a SNAP app created by technology. The secretaries or the custodians will enter a SNAP, we'll receive it in the warehouse, and we'll pull that, and we'll schedule the truck move. A truck move could be 1 item, or it could be a truck full. Pickup could be, it's either a save item, a AAA item, or a trash item. We save a lot of the items that we pick up from other buildings and bring back to our building in case they could be used somewhere else. Loan, we have tables, chairs, risers, and genies that we loan, and that's on a different truck move request. We have a technology request, which is we recycle old technology. We save the old laptops and iPads for resale. Deliver materials and supplies to all districts, north and south routes. POs, stores orders, printing services, materials, textbook materials, media services materials, loaned items owned by warehouse, tables, chairs, genie lifts, stage risers. We have a bi-weekly delivery schedule, which is in official bulletin number 11 for our dates of delivery and pickups. And by no means do we tell a school that if you don't get your order in, you don't get it on this date, you have to wait 2 weeks. We make sure they get what they need. Daily mail, north and south routes, daily in the AM, all schools. Includes other special attention deliveries as needed. Print shop deliveries, textbook rental deliveries, media processing, testing materials. Personal protection equipment, PPE distribution, ESSER funded. Mask, hand sanitizer, disinfectant cleaner, germicidal cleaner, nitrile gloves, paper towels. These are the main items that are requested weekly. PPE form is sent to us through email and attached as a form of items needed. We fill and deliver as needed. No school or building has ever ran out of PPE. All PPE that is requested and sent out is kept on a very large spreadsheet and stored for possible audit.
Can I ask you on that slide, you probably wouldn't have had that slide 2 years ago? Was that fair?
Absolutely not.
Have you had any challenges getting a PPE throughout the last 18 months?
I'll let Rod take that one.
And if so, what specifically?
Yeah, at the beginning of the pandemic, everything was hard to get. All those items that are listed there, believe it or not, we were working from home at that time, but we were actually busier, felt like, than we were when we were in our offices. Just because we searched high and low for different types of these items, and over time we found the sources for them. But and then there was astronomical price increases. Nitrile gloves. That's one thing, for example, that all the nitrile gloves come from the like Malaysia area, because that's where the rubber trees are. The United States, we don't have those. We don't have facilities to manufacture those. So that's an example of very hard to get, and we paid about 4 times more than what we would have. But now, as time has passed, all those products are more accessible. Pricing has also started to stabilize on that. So at the beginning, it was challenging.
So just quickly on that, Rod, the masks, for example, like last year, as kids were hybrid or whatever, we went through a lot less masks and probably more students. What I've seen is more students this year wearing the disposable ones that they pick up each day at school versus them having their own masks. Are we staying okay and on top of masking in school?
Yeah.
Or are we having lower ones in certain schools than others?
Yeah, you're exactly right. At the beginning, everybody was buying masks on their own for their kids, and the kids were coming to school with masks. Over time, they figured out the district, we have masks. We were prepared to supply them. And so this year, we've seen that pick up a lot. We're keeping an eye on it. If we're keep at the current rate, and I can't say this is definitely, but we'll probably have to buy more masks if everything stays the same as it is right now. And we originally started with like 2.5 million masks. So hopefully something changes at some point, but for now, we have enough for now, but we're watching that on a bi-weekly basis, taking inventory. Make sure we don't get in that position where we don't have them.
Great. So if a school is running, quickly, if school is running low and they report to you and you've got some coming in, but they're not right there, will you go to other schools and shift them around, or?
We have enough masks that, like Mike said, there's a process. They fill out a form, send it to Kay or Mike, and then they fill those orders. And right now we have adequate supply. I'm just saying if this went down the road, however, throughout the whole school year, we probably would have to buy some more masks if we stayed at this current rate.
Thank you.
Are there any of these products that you're worried about at this point in time, as far as
No.
supplies?
No, we have good sources for all those items. So at this point, no. So
March 2020, everything, huh?
yeah. Yeah, so I think we're sitting pretty good right now. We have like our hand sanitizer, our disinfectant, paper towels. We have a local source for all those that take in our supply. They take care of us pretty good. So.
Great.
Thank you, Rod. Jennifer, your question, I think on the average, every school is going through about a case of mask a week, which is 3,000 to a case. And we fill those orders daily, and we get them out to them daily. We don't wait for the bi-weekly schedule to get the PPE out. We get it there as soon as possible. Textbook inventory management. Where's my clicker? Student books received and distributed. Barcode, secondary schools only. Elementary schools are mostly consumable materials. Consumable materials received and distributed. Teacher materials received and distributed. Maintain extra stock of books and materials, and that's about 10%. Distribute additional books and materials as needed throughout the adoption period. Replace lost or damaged materials. Provide for new and transferring students. We send all the elementary materials according to the projected enrollment numbers each year. Consumable books and supplies for the elementary consist of math books, handwriting books, and social studies books. Number 2 pencils, colored pencils, kindergarten pencils, markers, composition notebooks, crayons, folders, and recorders for 4th graders. This adds up to 3 to 4 pallets per school, depending on the size, about 100 pallets. The middle and high schools book needs are determined by the student enrollment per course. Once principals finalize students' schedules, Tricia checks how many books each school has or needs and orders accordingly. All newly adopted and purchased textbooks are barcoded in Destiny for the middle and high schools. Community.
So are we, as we went one-to-one, and the more technology that we adopt and use, is our textbook space in the warehouse decreasing? Are we getting more space?
I think the textbooks are pretty much remaining the same.
I just find that hard to believe since I look at my kid's book bag and doesn't ever have a textbook. So I just wondered if, as we grow our technology and we use those, books online more, we'll end up with more warehouse space.
Yeah, I don't see that happening yet. Maybe it's starting to slowly. Okay. Add to that.
Yeah, I would add to that. You're right. As we turn to technology more and more, one thing we have done in a lot of cases, because you can get all the books online version also, we went to class sets instead of buying a book for every single student for every book. So that's one of the things. There has been a reduction in that aspect. But as far as like just consumable items for the elementaries, which they're pretty much all consumable with a couple exceptions, currently that's pretty much stable, and maybe that'll change at some point, I don't know, but that's where the reduction in inventory has been the most if we buy class sets.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Community services. We love working with our community, and we do a lot for our community whenever they ask. Blessings in a backpack, we work together with Sodexo on that. It's pre-packed meals distributed weekly to a lot of the Title I schools. It's take-home lunches that are pre-packed. Neighborhood health dental sealant program. We move dental equipment around once or twice a week to all the schools too. I think it's mainly the Title I schools where they do a sealant. Clothing bank, we move a lot of clothes from the schools to the clothing bank, from the clothing bank to the schools. Community harvest food bank, construction. I don't know if anybody's familiar with construction, but it's pretty neat what they do. And we pick up a lot of the canned goods from different supermarkets here in Fort Wayne, and we'll take them to the schools so they can practice building their structures. And when they're done, we'll take it all out to Glenbrook. And when they're done with that, it goes to Community Harvest Food Bank as a donation. So it's pretty neat. Junior achievement, we sort and distribute JA material a few times a year. Lions clubs, we sort and distribute dictionaries that they donate to all schools. Kara's House, and this just happened last week, we got a call from Kara's House because we received some items in for Kara's House and they're supposed to pick it up when it's a non-pub. And they said they can't do that. They don't have the means to do that. And I said, we'll bring it to you. And we took it to them. My guys got there, and I got a phone call, and they said, they want us to put it together. I said, what is it? Is it hard? And they said, they can't do it. I said, put it together for them. So occasionally, we do stuff like that. Also, we worked with Grand Wayne, Embassy, Greater Fort Wayne, United Way, Arch United, Turnstone, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Salvation Army, Memorial Coliseum. So we're really involved with the community. Thank you. Questions?
Thank you for the presentation, gentlemen. I did have a question. I was curious about what mail you deliver that is not the responsibility of the U.S. Postal Service.
We deliver all the inter-school mail. So if my guys pick up mail at Lane and their next stop is Jefferson, that will be there within 10 minutes. The most anybody will have to wait for inter-school mail will be 1 day. So we do all the inter-school mail.
In your years at the warehouse, are you seeing a drop in mail if more people are using email to send digital copies of whatever they used to send that was a hard copy?
And the answer is no.
Are you having a problem, Rod? I do a lot of work in printing and such. Are you having toner paper problems like I am having?
Yes, particularly with our copier fleet, Konica Minolta in Japan, there was a warehouse, I guess it was like their main facility for producing the toner, and that burnt down. Actually, I think there were 2 fires. There was one and then another one after that, which sounded suspicious to me, but anyways, but yeah, so we are experiencing some delays on getting that materials, but Konica Minolta is taking care of us. If there's an issue, I call our either one of our techs or our sales management folks, and they'll take it over there personally and make sure that nobody runs out. But yes, there has been some issues recently.
Yeah, I've noticed that I'm like paper stock. I want a certain color paper. I can't get that certain color paper. I can get like 4,000 sheets, but I can't get 9,000 sheets or whatever.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
and it's
that's
random. There's no rhyme or reason. I
Yeah,
guess it's like a lot of things, but I just
Yeah.
wondered if we were experiencing those same issues.
Yeah, from a procurement standpoint, this new world we live in is crazy. The things that you would never think that you would have a problem getting. So there's very random, and you would think, how's that connected to the pandemic? But
Like what
it
kind of
is.
things are you seeing?
Oh, just all different types of things, but like one that sticks out, I remember a while back, field paint for our sporting fields. There's some component in that's from China. And so through all that process, there was a shortage of that. Vehicles, major problem due to the chips. It's all kinds of stuff. And it's no rhyme or reason. So it's...
Hey Rod, I kind of have a random question. With the pandemic, we've had to shut off a lot of our water fountains, and we've asked students to bring in water bottles. And I know initially, I think we provided the schools with disposable cups to use if students forgot their water bottles. Is that something that we're still providing, or no?
I think, I don't know the answer for sure, but I think students are supposed to bring their own water bottle.
Okay.
If there was something else we did at one point, we may have, but I think that we're asking them to bring their own to school.
Okay.
I have 2 more questions. One, going back to our fluorescent bulbs. As we are trying to turn our schools more green, are we seeing a decrease in fluorescent bulb? Are we eventually getting will we get to a point ever where we won't have a fluorescent bulb?
I think we will. That's part of the, what Mr.
Darren
Hess.
sits up here often and tells us about these great green lights that are going to last us a long time.
As we're doing the building renovations, and Darren could probably speak to it better than me, but we are moving to the LED, but it's, I couldn't tell you the percentage that is. I don't know, but it's probably going to be a while before we get to that point where it's across the board.
I can see that in my own house eventually, one bulb at a time. So.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of fluorescent bulbs, I was curious about the fluorescent bulb recycler. How does that work? What does that do?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've never done it.
Come on out. It's a 55-gallon barrel. It's got a top that seals, and it's got a suction device in it, so none of the fumes will come out, the mercury or anything. And there's filters on it, and it's got 3 chains in there that spin around, and there's a tube, you feed the bulb into it, and it just shreds them.
And then
It's pretty slick.
And then you empty it.
We don't empty it. We seal it up, and there's an outside source that come pick them up.
Oh, okay, interesting.
But prior to that, we were just putting them in containers and
We were storing them on pallets and shrink wrapping them in the boxes, so it was.
And then the person,
Then they would come pick
supplier
them
would come
up.
and take them
Yes,
away.
and it'd take a whole truckload
We
to.
would pay somebody to do what these
Yeah.
guys are doing
Yeah.
now.
So the warehouse to me sounds like a pretty cool place to work. Are you hiring?
Come on out.
Great. Just wondering if there were openings so that, we have lots of openings and if anybody's watching that wants to work in the warehouse,
In
sounds like a
fact,
fabulous place
we
to work.
just hired a person, so I think we're really good right now. So,
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found your presentation very interesting. I didn't know, everything that you did and what you're responsible for, and I'm glad you have an actual name because I've only heard of you as Catalpa Street, so.
Thank you.
I don't know who to thank, but that was one of the best videos I've seen showcasing a community school department. It just seemed to be different than the videos I've seen, but it was a well-told story about what you folks do, so.
You can thank Austin Russell for that. He's been doing an amazing job.
Austin did a great job.
Yeah, he was wonderful to work with. He kind of let us, have the ideas. We had a few of our own, but he's good.
Did a nice job.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
You too.
Thank you, too.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, I believe we're ready for board comments. Steve?
Happy Thanksgiving. That's it.
That's it. I wanted to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving and a quick little shout out to one of our parents. I won't name the person, but we did have an article last week. As we're all struggling and all industries are struggling with employees and shortages, we were having a nice article on the bus shortage. And it's everywhere because I was out of town last week and they were having a bus shortage. But we did have a parent who was quoted in the newspaper, and it was very nice to hear they were trying to solve the problem themselves, that they took the problem of their daughter getting on the bus a half an hour late, decided to call out some other parents and carpool. And I think where we're sitting as a district as a whole and, even going to a restaurant or anything where there's shortage, patience, and I was getting that with, I think that Noah was making a comment or something, and I was thinking that was on the top of my mind was patience is something, I think they were saying what we don't get, what we can get, what we can't get. I think we've all learned a little bit of patience. We can't just have things at our fingertips any longer, and we've learned a little lesson, or at least I hope people are learning a lesson on that. But that parent took the time to call out that they've tried to solve a problem, but the most important thing to him was that his kids were back in school, and the kids wanted to be in school, and he was going to do everything he could to get his child to school, realizing that we have this problem, but he could be part of that. He could be part of the solution to solve it for the time being. And I think that if we all could kind of work together, and I know it's not easy, but as the winter months come and we don't have those bus drivers or things are late, please just work together with what you can and the resources that you can. And not everybody can do that, and I do understand that. But if you do have somebody or something and you can get your child to school and you know that you can get them to school, they want to be there, the teachers want them there, and we want them there. So thank you to that Snyder parent who was quoted in the newspaper. I just thought it was a wonderful remark for our district to, they weren't complaining. They want their kids at school and they were trying to solve the issue. So on that note, I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and be safe and enjoy.
Thank you. Maria?
I just hope that everyone uses this time to rest and recuperate. I know that it's been very stressful, so again, just want to thank everybody and hope that your hearts and bellies are very full after Thanksgiving. So.
Thank you. Raleigh, did you have anything?
Just a happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Be safe, and that's it.
Thank you. Noah?
I'll get on the Happy Thanksgiving bandwagon, but I also want to congratulate Principal Sarah Wortman and Forest Park Elementary. They were able to obtain funding and raise money to help build an inclusive playground there at Forest Park Elementary, so that's pretty exciting for them. I got to tour that school last spring and look forward to that's going to be quite the request for her to get their secure vestibule, because that's quite a school, but I know they're real excited there at Forest Park, so congratulations to Sarah and her team. And that's it.
All right. Dr. Daniel?
Yes, our thoughts and prayers go out to the Green family with the sudden passing last week of Gussie Green. She was a longtime educator, serving 46 years in the district at Jefferson Middle School and then Northrop High School until the time of her death. She was known by generations of Fort Wayne Community School students. So again, remembering her in our thoughts and prayers and her family. Also, we are working on the transportation piece, looking at using some of our white minibuses. So again, hopefully we'll be designing a bit of a different system, particularly with our students in the AM, which seems to be the period of time as a student sitting out at the bus stop. We're working hard in that area. So appreciate your comments though, Jennifer, as well. Also had a couple of visits to different schools in Florida, i.e. the 3DE concept. It was extremely positive, and both our principals and their lead teachers in that area, as well as myself and Dr. Robbins, attended, and I can say that I think we're going down a direction where excitement of learning and engagement's going to see a tremendous increase, both from the teacher side and the student side. So extremely excited about that, as well as we visited Tangelo Park in Orlando, and they're showing phenomenal results as well. So part of what we're doing with some of our ESSER dollars and thinking, how do we expand our pre-K programming? So, and again, we look at that from a 4-year-old and 5-year-old perspective. One of our buildings does have 3-year-olds, but we'd truly like to see that across our district. And we have that in most of our buildings, but not all of our buildings. But again, looking forward to that expansion. And of course, how do we involve both our private sector and our public sector coming together? So one neighborhood at a time, as Harris Rosen reminded me. He said, don't make it complicated. One neighborhood at a time. So we have some thoughts on that. We have some dollars at part of the referendum to upgrade some of our buildings. So again, we're very fortunate, and we look forward to see what will be happening in the next several months in that space. So hopefully, and even perhaps implementing some expansion next fall. So with that said, everyone have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Take time, as you said, to rest, and most of our folks should be having some checks coming in the mail for retroactive for the increase that we've passed for our employees. So looking forward to that as well. Thank you.
There was an article maybe a week or so ago in the Journal Gazette about how businesses value life skills when they get new employees, young people coming out of high school or college. Prefer, they look at that over their GPA. And as a guidance counselor, I always, stress that to my parents as well, when they were so concerned about their child and, oh, they're not doing well in their classes or whatever. But that child, personality-wise, that kid was on it, and they were had great communication skills and people skills, and that's what is important. And why I bring that up is because I think we've been in that direction with our 6 C's: character, citizenship, collaboration, communication, creativity, critical thinking, and I think we're just expanding on that with our 3DE, as well as our AMP lab, which I think we'll be learning more about here shortly. That's our school we're opening at Electric Works. So what was in this article, I think, we are 100% doing and even expanding, so it's great to see that. Again, thank you or congratulations, I should say, to Forest Park, as Noah said, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Take those 4 days and relax, and I am thankful to see that clock in the back of our room. I've been looking for that for a long time, and there it is. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving. And is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Roll call vote. Steve?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Maria?
Aye.
Raleigh?
Aye.
Noah?
Aye.
Aye from me. Our meeting is adjourned. I believe we have one